How many of you were here for the Tuesday night class? Okay, so I'm just going to do a little short repeat of the intro there. Okay. So the idea of spiritual life is to change one's consciousness, to change one's awareness, to become enlightened, to change our vision, our understanding, our experience, much more than to change our circumstances. We want to come to a higher level of consciousness where we perceive the world and our life and ourselves spiritually. So in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes meditational yoga, dhyana yoga, to enter into samadhi. And then Arjuna tells Krishna that he thinks this will be very difficult. He says that he doesn't think he's going to be successful with this. So Krishna says at the end that the real yogi, he has it. Anyone know the verse at the end of the 6th chapter? Yoginam api sarvesham madgatem antaratmana Shradavam bhajate yomam sammayuktatmo mataha. If you really want to be a yogi, Krishna says, be absorbed in me. And then in the 7th chapter, you notice we're going to be looking at chapters 7, 9, 10, and 15. In the 7th chapter, Krishna starts telling Arjuna how he can be absorbed in thoughts of him. Our acharyas, especially Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, explains that the 7th through 12th chapters of the Bhagavad Gita contain primarily bhakti yoga. I mean, bhakti yoga is everywhere in the Gita. But the emphasis in these middle 6 chapters is on bhakti yoga. And Krishna starts in the 7th chapter, and the 9th, and the 10th, and a little bit in the 15th. But in these 3 important chapters in this middle section, talking about how he can be meditated upon. And perhaps it may surprise you that Krishna doesn't talk about immediately, well, you're a great yogi by meditating on me, so meditate on me in my leelas, in my spiritual leelas. Of course, we should do that, undoubtedly, but that's not where Krishna goes immediately. He goes to meditate on me in the things of this world, on which you're already meditating. We're already thinking about what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm tasting. Those are the things that we're already thinking about, correct? What my senses are interacting with, or what they interacted with in the past, or what I hope they'll interact with in the future, that is what I'm meditating upon already. And so Krishna says, change the way you're meditating upon those things to see Krishna in those things. That Krishna is the essence of everything, and Krishna is the origin of everything. Now, I'm sorry we sold out of our Krishna Meditations book. We should have brought more to Melbourne, but they are available on Amazon. And in our book, we have a lot of quotes from Shastra, from Srila Prabhupada. We do have another book there, of course. And our acharyas, explaining that when we change our consciousness in this way, we will not experience that we are living in the material world. Now, many times devotees think that because Krishna says, Dukkhalayam Shasvatam, that this world is temporary and miserable, that I just simply have to have a temporary miserable existence until I die, and then I go to the spiritual world. Huh? That is actually a very Christian idea, by the way. That's not really a Vedic conception at all. It certainly isn't a personalistic conception. Krishna already says in the 3rd chapter that he provided yajna so everyone could live happily in the world and attain liberation. We're meant to become liberated now. It's not just a question of geography. It's not just a question that I'm going to travel in an airplane to this spiritual world, and there I will be happy, and here I have to be miserable. Ouch. No. We can actually be happy here. And these quotes that we have, in one of them, Srila Prabhupada says 3 times in one lecture, That if we think this way, there will be no material world. He says it 3 times. There will be no material world, there will be no material world, there will be no material world. Does that sound good? Yes? Would you like to live in the spiritual world now? Okay, so the trick is, in Tokyo, one guest asked Prabhupada, how can I see God? And Prabhupada said, see God the way He is telling you to see Him. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to see Krishna the way He is telling us to see Him. And Srila Prabhupada was quoting these verses that we'll be quoting to you today. So just like we did on Tuesday, I'm going to ask you the same thing, that you take some notes on paper, your phone, whatever, and that as we're going through these, pick 1, 2, or 3 of these things that we're discussing that you are going to be meditating on, let's say in the next week. And for those of you who had the book, and for those of you who didn't get the book, it is available online. And you can open it anywhere and pick any one of the meditations, read them for like 2 minutes. They're much better than what I'm going to talk about in the class, really. And from that, you can change your whole view. By the way, those of you who stayed at the end of the class, we have a special surprise for you. All right? Everybody ready? Ready? Ready to turn the material world into the spiritual world? Yes? Prabhupada says, Krishna book, chapter 20, Maya exists only within the mind. Whoa. Okay? We're going to get Maya out of our mind. Starting with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. And thank you for getting the first class projector. Yeah, that's nice. So Krishna says He is Om. Now He says this 3 times, that He is Om. So we know everything in this, all this cosmic manifestation was created by sound, and that sound was Om. And actually this Om, it's still vibrating in everything. Just like the scientists say that even within solid matter, there's still movement, right? The atoms, the molecules, they're still moving. And when there's movement, there is sound. So actually, everything is making this sound. It's pervading everything. But not only does Krishna say He's Om, He says He's all sounds. That's Krishna. No, thank you. I like this one because it's a challenge. You know, how do we think that that sound is Krishna? Or the sound of the motor of the projector? Or somebody dropping their book? Or somebody coughing? Or somebody laughing? Or somebody closing a door? Or a big truck? That's Krishna. And there's one class Prabhupada's talking about this, and he says, if you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, you can meditate on how Krishna is in all sounds. So even if you do want to chant Hare Krishna, you can do that. And this is one of my most fun ones to do, because that's all right, that sound is Krishna. So Krishna says He's all the sounds. Anyone remember on Tuesday, where do all the sounds come from? Krishna's what? Ears. Excellent. Woohoo. All right, I'm the seed of all existences. So this one is another one Krishna says 3 times. 3 times He says He's Om, 3 times He says He's a seed, 3 times He said He's the light of the sun. So I'm the seed of everything. So of course bhakti is compared to a seed. That the guru plants the seed in the heart, we water it through hearing and chanting, it gradually grows and it becomes fruits and flowers of love of God at the lotus feet of the Lord. So righteous sex life, whenever we see married couples that are loving and respectful to each other, raising their children with devotion, that is Krishna. The strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. Whenever we or anyone else are using strength to protect and help others rather than exploit them, that is Krishna. I am the heat in fire. Can we all become aware of the heat in this room? Can you become aware that there's heat in this room? I once heard a scientist say that the universe is simply a cold, impersonal machine. But that's not true. Now, we associate heat with life, right? Yes? How do we know something's alive? It's warm. We also associate warmth with affection. We get a warm hug rather than a cold glance. And when we become aware of the heat in our surroundings, that's Krishna showing us that he's loving, alive and loving. Original fragrance of the earth. So I mentioned this on Tuesday, that Srila Prabhupada said that even if you don't know the scriptures, even if you don't have a guru, that you can find God in the smell of a flower. One time Prabhupada was given a jasmine flower, some of you call it mogra, and he said, he's smelling it, he said, this is Krishna. How amazing is it that with the same sunlight, the same water, the same dirt, so many different fragrances, right? There's gardenias, we have outside here a night blooming jasmine. You really notice it in the morning, in the early morning. That has a different fragrance than a marigold or a rose. How does he produce all of these fragrances? Does anybody remember from Tuesday where this fragrance comes from in the Lord's form? His what? His nostrils, his breathing. That his breath is all these, it's when we're smelling these wonderful fragrances, that's the breath of the Lord. The penances of ascetics. So what does penance mean? Penance means I've done something wrong and I put things back into balance. And the ascetics are people whose entire life is dedicated to putting things back into balance. So the simplest penance is a genuine apology. Easy or hard? Yeah. So some months ago, someone I know on social media posted something saying, my seniors have asked me to write a genuine apology. So if any of you are so sensitive that you happen to be offended by what I wrote previously, I'm very sorry for that. We don't like to do genuine apologies because they make little nicks in our false ego. But when we do that, there's Krishna. And interestingly enough, in the Chaturshloki of the Bhagavatam, which is the core, original 4 verses of the Bhagavatam in Second Canto, Chapter 9, right before those verses, the Lord is talking to Brahma, and he says, Tapo me hridayam sakshad. Penance me nimai, hridayam heart, sakshad directly. Penance is directly my heart, and then he says, Atmaham tapaso. Atma aham, that's like saying myself. Myself is penance. Penance is directly my heart, myself is penance. The negative essence of bhakti yoga, or any bona fide yoga, is to get rid of the false ego. The positive essence is to fall in love with Krishna, and the negative essence is to get rid of the false ego. And those two, of course, have to go together. Yes? Bhakti yoga induces us to love Krishna by letting go of our false ego, and by letting go of our false ego, we are induced to love Krishna. They're complementary. And this letting go of our false ego, that is Krishna, the life of all that lives. Can we become aware now that we are alive? Can you just feel, I'm alive. I'm alive. That aliveness. And now become aware that everyone in this room is also having this sense of aliveness. This room is full of aliveness. And when we go outside, the plants, the animals, the insects, they're full of aliveness. And that sense of being alive is Krishna. The intelligence of the intelligence. So all of us have some intelligence. And we all do smart things sometimes. I remember when I was like 10, I put on a puppet show for school, and I wanted 3 puppets, but I only have 2 hands, you know, so I was trying to figure out how to manipulate the 3rd puppet. And I finally figured it out. It was like with a string attached to my toe. And I was so excited. I did something really smart, right? You know when you have those moments? Yes, we all have those moments. Wow, that was smart. That's Krishna. The tejas, the prowess. This is like strength used expertly, not just strength, but strength used in a way that requires expertise. The light of the sun. Now this is, Krishna says that he's the light of the sun 3 times. We'd have no sunlight in this room. All we have here is artificial light, which of course, oh, here we have a little sunlight. Hey, hold the door open for a minute. Okay, can you all see that sunlight? Yeah? All right, so we have a little sunlight coming in the room. You know, often when we see sunlight, we sort of just take it for granted. Oh, the sun, light outside. But that's Krishna, and the sunlight is giving us a sense of certainty, knowledge. It dissipates our fears. Yes, that's Krishna. And the light of the moon. I'm sure sometimes you go down to the ocean at night and see the moon beautifully reflecting like diamonds on the water. Ability. Well, this is an easy one to meditate on because we're always using some ability. Right now we're using the ability to sit, to see, to hear. You can try wiggling your fingers or your toes a little bit. How are you doing that? How do we do that? How do you do that? How am I doing that? Krishna's doing it, right? That's Krishna. So we're always using some ability. We notice other people using ability. Of course, when we notice someone using an incredible ability, but even ordinary abilities. And this is something, it's very easy to remember during the day. I'm walking. Ah, that ability is Krishna. I am the taste of water. Some of you here have some water? Any of you have some water? Any of you have a water bottle with you? Anybody? Anybody who has water, take out your water. Good, take out your water. Anyone who has water, get it out and let's drink some water. 1, 2, 3, let's drink some water. Come on. Only the ladies brought water, not the men. Do you rely on the women to carry your water? So that amazing taste, I mean, especially, you know, if it's been hot outside and we've been working hard. This is one that Prabhupada quotes very often. And the other day, we had this astonishingly in a Bhagavatam purport in the morning, where Prabhupada in the purport was relating this rasoham apsukantaya to rasovaisa, that Krishna is full of rasa, and that we can experience that whenever we drink water. Of course, Prabhupada often will say that this verse applies to anything liquid. So if you're drinking orange juice, you're drinking mango juice, you're drinking milk. Actually, rasa means kind of liquidity. Where does this Krishna, I am the taste of rasa, I am the taste of water, I am rasa, what part of his form does this come from? His? Anybody remember from Tuesday? His tongue. This is also an easy one to remember, unless it's like Pandavanir Jalakadasi, you're not drinking any water. But then maybe you can meditate on how your remembrance of how much you appreciate water when you do drink it. So that's chapter 7. Now we're going on to chapter 9. Krishna says he is the ritual, he is the kratu. So we have so many rituals, right, in devotional life, but in life in general we have rituals. Just like when I visit our oldest son, so he doesn't put wooden items in the dishwashing machine. But our youngest son, when I visit him, he does put wooden items in the dishwashing machine. And at our oldest son's house, the plates go over here, and the cups go over here in the cabinets. And our youngest son's house, the plates go over here, and the cups go over here. They have different rituals, and those rituals are expressions of their desire, how they want to live. So these different rituals we have in the Shastra, given by our acharyas, they're indicators of Krishna's desire, and Krishna and his desire are the same. So not only the rituals, but the yagyas, the sacrifice. So yagya means really some ceremony to connect with the Lord. Just like if I want to connect with any of you, right? If I want to connect with my daughter, say, in America, she's on the East Coast. So I have to have a phone. The phone, I have to do a little ceremony, right? I have to get up my phone. My phone has to be charged. It has to be connected with a network. I have to get the number right. If I get one number wrong, it won't work. And then I have to think about the timing. I don't want to call her at 1 in the morning. Now it's interesting, she ended up accidentally calling me at midnight last night. She calls me and I'm like, "Hi, Mom?" And she said, "Oops, what time is it there?" I'm like, "It's midnight." And then I said, "You know, in my classes, I'm always talking about how I can't call you at midnight." And now you called me. But I actually wasn't upset. I was happy to talk to her until 1:30 in the morning. But, you know, normally if you call somebody at 12 in the morning, it's not going to work very well. In other words, most yagyas, you have to get everything right. You have to get the timing, the ritual, everything. Right? We have some yagyas in the Bhagavatam where, you know, they wanted somebody, right, who would kill Indra, and they got somebody that Indra killed, and they wanted a boy, and they got a girl, and you know, you have to be really particular about this. So Krishna has these particular ceremonies of connection, and again, they're indicative of the way he wants us to connect with him. And the offering to the ancestors. So Krishna very much likes it when we respect our family elders, when we keep up pious traditions. So I was talking in one place, where was I? Gold Coast. I was talking to some lady devotees, married lady devotees, whose in-laws are from India, and their in-laws want them to do all these family rituals. And they didn't know what to do because their husbands wouldn't really get involved. You know, so the mother-in-law is saying, "You need to do this family ritual," and they're going to their husband, "Do I need to do this?" And he's just like, "I'm not going to get involved between you and my mother." You know. So they were wondering what they should do, and I said, "Well, you can meditate on this verse, that Krishna is himself present in showing respect." And then we talked about how they could do the rituals in proper Krishna consciousness. So I am the healing herb. So that power and potency in medicine. What that amazing thing that happens, and of course even modern pharmaceuticals are generally derived from herbs or synthesized herbs. And you know what it's like if you're sick and you take some medicine and you feel better, yeah? Right? How does that happen? Because it's Krishna. Anybody remember what part of Krishna's body the herbs come from? They're his hairs. And the fragrance of the herbs comes from his nostrils, from his breathing on them. So whenever we're taking medicines, it has potency because it's Krishna's hairs infused with his breath. What a nice thing to meditate on, right? Or even when you use herbs in your cooking. Children laughing is just fine. It's fine. Screaming is not fine, but laughing is that's fine. You know, we don't want to just mindlessly open our spice jars. Wow, this is Krishna's hairs and Krishna's breathing. And he's here in these herbs. The transcendental chant, so if he's all sounds, especially he's the sound of his name. Butter, fire, offering. So he's the rituals, he's the ceremony, and he's all the ingredients of the ceremony. The Father. So every religion understands that God is the Father. So all of us have fathers. I hope we have good relationships with our fathers. Many of you here are fathers, and every day we see some fathers. So if we think about what is an ideal father, protects the children, educates them, plays with them, make sure, you know, that they have everything that they need. And if we take that dutiful, affectionate father, and we were to multiply that infinitely, we could understand something of how much Krishna cares for us. But then he also says that he's the mother. So what does mother mean? Our bodies grow in the body of our mother. Our bodies are nourished in the body of our mother. And similarly, we are developing in and being nourished by the body of the Lord. Similarly, mothers in particular are generally known for loving their children no matter what their children do. Not always, but generally. So many mothers, even if the child is a criminal in prison, the mother still loves them. So even though we make so many mistakes, right? Even though we have so many struggles, so many imperfections, Krishna as a mother is always loving us. The support, so what supports us? Right? We talk about support as our career. How do I support my family? Or our buildings, our health, our physical strength, maybe other family members. Can all of those crumble? Can our job crumble? Yes. Our building, our intelligence, other people in our family, but Krishna never crumbles. I am the grandsire. We are in Krishna's dynasty. When you do a yajna, the priest will say you're in Achyuta Gotra, Achyuta's family. And of course, Prabhupada often talks about how the grandfather is even more affectionate than the father. The object of knowledge. I read once a scientist said that when he studied a little bit of science, he became an atheist, and when he studied science deeply, he became a theist. The more we understand things, the more we see there is Krishna. The purifier. So we do a lot to become purified. We take a bath, we wash our clothes, we clean our house, we try to eat right. We go to some healthcare provider, maybe we get some sort of emotional therapy or guidance. So many things to purify ourselves, but the purifying agent in all of those is Krishna. None of those would have any power to purify us if it wasn't for Krishna. And again, he says that he's Om. So we might think, well, that's very simple. One little syllable, Om. How is that God? So Lord Brahma also made this mistake. He saw little Krishna in Vrindavan. And he thinks, so here's just a little boy eating with his friends. And he had food in his left hand even, right? Krishna had rice and yogurt and fruit in his left hand. And he's eating with his friends. And his friends aren't offering food the way we offer food. His friends are just saying, hey, Krishna, take this samosa, and throwing it to Krishna. And sometimes they say, hey, Krishna, there's a monkey. And Krishna looks for the monkey. And then they take the samosa and they take all the veggies out of it and they put flowers inside. And then Krishna goes to eat. And so Lord Brahma is looking at this and he's saying, how could this be God? Too simple. So we might think with Om, how can this be God? So simple. I am the goal. Srila Prabhupada writes that if our mind is unsettled, that is due to want of a proper goal. When we are setting goals, working towards goals, achieving those goals, that is Krishna. I am the sustainer. What sustains us? The air, water, temperature, food, emotionally, our family, our community. Yes? But actually, Krishna is the air, Krishna is the water, Krishna is the light, Krishna is the food. Really what's sustaining us is Krishna. I am the master. Not a very popular word in 2024. Yes. How many of you have ever had a really good boss? Anyone here ever had a really good boss? Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's always a minority though. So twice in my life I've had a really good boss. And when you have a really good boss, you feel secure. Yeah? So it's a story I like to tell. It was written by one Christian writer. And he was saying that he and his wife and kids were driving. So they put the kids in the car seats in the car, right? And they drive and they stop at a grocery store and they're waiting in the car. The wife gets out, she buys some things, gets back in the car. They go to a petrol station and he gets out, puts petrol in the car, gets back in the car. Then they stop at a friend's house, wife gets out, gives some things to the friends, gets back in the car. Then he's driving on the highway. Do you call it highway or motorway here? Highway, okay. So it's funny, in Australia, you pull some things from America and some things from the UK. So anyway, so they're driving on the highway, but he's driving too fast. And so the police officer comes with the sirens and the lights, you know, gives him a ticket. And then they're driving a little further and his 3-year-old daughter says, Daddy, where are we going? And he said he thought, wow, we've been in this car for 45 minutes. And from the perspective of a 3-year-old, you know, we're stopping at different places and different parents are getting out of the car and getting back in, and then some stranger comes with lights to the window and she's just there. Doesn't know where she's going, what's going on, but she's peaceful. Why? What does she know? Who is driving? She knows who is driving. So Krishna is driving. I am the witness. So we may not like this one. This one may make us nervous. Uh-oh. Krishna knows everything I'm doing, everything I'm thinking. Uh-oh. It's not like that. So you can make an experiment. So tonight, go to someone that you love and that loves you, that genuinely loves you, and say, I'd like to talk to you for 2 hours about everything I did today. What do you think? Krishna is interested in everything we think, everything we do, everything we desire, forever. This life, other life, he actually deeply cares. I am the abode. So how do we feel when we go home? Right? You can relax, you can be your authentic self. So Krishna is everywhere, and we can always feel that sense of being home with him. And of course, this is something we can remember whenever we go to our home. Open the door to your home, and that sense, that's what Krishna can give me, that sense of being home. I am the refuge. So there's many places. One of them is in Bhagavatam 3:21-17. But there's many places where Srila Prabhupada compares Krishna to an umbrella. He says that devotees boldly take to that shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. Whenever we open our umbrellas for the sun, for the rain, Krishna is the ultimate refuge, the ultimate umbrella, and the most dear friend. So I hope all of us have at least one friend. I hope so. So what is a friend? Somebody we can confide in, someone we know will be there for us when we're in trouble. We're there for them when they're in trouble. We have a sense of equality. We do fun things together. That feeling we have of friendship. And that we have in Krishna multiplied unlimitedly. Creation and annihilation. So we are fascinated by both of these. I remember when one of my grandkids was born, so I was taking his older brother out for walks to give my daughter-in-law a break, and we would go to construction sites. He was like 2 years old, and he loved to watch all the trucks and everything, building, right? But we like to watch things being broken as well. You know, think about when we're little children and we build towers out of blocks. What do little children do? They build the tower and then they knock it down. There's this lady who actually makes her livelihood by doing that. That's how she pays her bills. She builds buildings out of blocks, you know, and then she records herself, like dominoes kind of thing, and she knocks them down and they disintegrate in some cool way and people pay to see that. So Krishna is the creation and the annihilation. He's the basis of everything. So secularism means when I explain my life story or the life story of the world without reference to God, I don't see how Krishna is the basis. But our happiness, our tragedy, our anger, our experiences, our lessons, everything, Krishna is the basis. I am the resting place. So I really liked getting these pictures. Do I have till 8:30 or do I have till 9? Till 9. I wanted to make sure I have time for the special thing. So I really like getting these pictures of resting place. Yeah. So again, that sense, I was walking by the ocean today, and I was looking, where's a good place to rest? I found a nice bench, no one else was sitting there, and I was thinking, Krishna's the resting place. This is something I remember whenever I lie in bed at the end of the day. You know, whenever I'm Krishna is the resting place. I am the eternal seed. So again, Krishna says that he is the seed. So human beings all over the world, their primary food is seeds. Wheat, rice, corn, oats, barley, millet, all of our beans, legumes, a lot of our spices, because the seeds are the concentrated energy of the plant. Yes? There's this nice story that Prabhupada tells about Narada Muni going to see a shoemaker. And he tells the shoemaker, I have just seen the Lord. And the shoemaker says, what is he doing? And Narada says, well, he's putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. And the shoemaker starts dancing, and Narada says, you believe me? And he said, why not? He said, if the Lord can put a banyan tree inside of a seed, why can't he put an elephant in the eye of the needle. So whenever we're eating our rotis or our rice or our dal or cumin seeds, Krishna is a seed. I give heat. So heat makes molecules dance. That's why if you hang out your clothes in the sun, they dry. Because the heat is making the water molecules dance, and they dance off the clothes into the air. Or when we cook things, right? We cook, the molecules start dancing out of the pot. And the flavor and the texture of the food changes. Similarly, whenever we see Krishna, we start to dance. And our real texture and flavor changes, and our heart liquefies and melts. I withhold and send forth the rain. Sometimes, you see a cloud in the distance and you can see the rain coming down. Yes? And you can see it's raining over here and not over here. I clearly remember as a child being on the road. I remember exactly what road it was, everything. And it was raining on our side of the road and not the other side, like right down the line. And I remember saying, how does it do that? I asked my parents, how does it know where the line is? Right? So when our oldest son was about a year and a half old, we were living in an ashram, and there was a sink in the corridor. And so sometimes he would take a container, and he'd go up to the sink, and he'd hold up his container, and he'd wait till someone came by, and he'd say, water, water, water. And of course, anybody who would see that would give him water. So then what would he do with the water? 1-year-old child. What would he do with the water? And then once he spilled it on the ground, then what would he do? And he would make a mess. And so the devotees would say to me, Urmila, why are you giving your son water? I said, I'm not giving him water, you're giving him water. They said, but he comes up to us, water, water. I said, sometimes you have to turn off the tap, So Krishna, sometimes he turns the water on, sometimes he turns it off. Immortality and death. So we are all afraid of death. Why are we afraid of death? Because death is the destruction of this particular identity in which we have made a huge investment. So we used to have this drama called the wrong bank account. So I'm sure you all know that you can put money into someone else's account as long as you have their account number. Yes? So it was the story that this man, whenever he got paid, he would put some money into what he thought was his account, but when he went to take it out, there was nothing there because he'd gotten a number wrong. So we are generally investing our time, our energy, our care into our body, our mind, our relationships in this world, right? Everything in this world. We're pouring ourselves into the things of this world. And so death is terrifying because when death comes, all of that is finished, right? But when the devotee sees that death is Krishna, so what does Srila Prabhupada say? He talks about the mother cat. The mother cat's carrying the kitten and also carrying the rat. And the kitten feels secure and the rat feels fear. So why does the devotee feel so secure? Because they know that Krishna is not just death, he's also immortality. I don't die. And because the devotee has been investing in their spiritual life, which is not taken away at the time of death. So we've looked at chapter 7 and 9. Now we're going to look at chapter 10. The beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. When we're babies, when we're youth, when we're middle age, when we're old age. And again, the sun. Actually, the scientists explain that everything is a transformation of sunlight. Fascinating. The plants are taking sunlight and transforming it into food. We're eating it. It gets transformed into our bodies. Our bodies are a transformation of sunlight. Actually, everything is a transformation of sunlight. Incredible if you really meditate on that. Everything is a transformation of sunlight. Among stars, I am the moon. When we see the moon surrounded by stars, we can remember Krishna eating surrounded by his cowherd boyfriends or dancing surrounded by the gopis. Of senses, I am the mind. So we yogis, we sometimes find our mind very troublesome. Yes, but Prabhupada says that we cannot think of anything that is outside the scope of Krishna's energy. And when we realize that, we'll think and feel and desire for Krishna directly and realize he is the mind. In living beings, I'm the living force or consciousness. Can we become aware that we are aware? We are aware of where our toes are. We are aware of where our nose is. Even if we close our eyes, we are aware of the space in the room. We are aware of the space behind us, to the sides of us, and in front of us. We are full of awareness. And now we can become aware that everyone in this room is also aware. This room is full of consciousness. And the world is full of life, and all living beings have this awareness, which is Krishna. Of all the Rudras, I am Shiva. So I have a godbrother. He's retired now, but he used to work as a physician in the maximum security prison for the criminally insane. Thank you so much. Are you doing some service for Prabhupada? Thank you. Would you like to do it over there? Is that okay? I can't compete with cute kids. That's not going to work. Do you want to go over there? Is that okay? No? You want to stay there and compete with me? Okay, well, I'll try. So someone has to take care of these people, yes? And that Krishna does as Lord Shiva, who's like milk transformed into yogurt. This is a nice one here in Melbourne. Yeah? Does anybody remember what part of Krishna's form the ocean is? His waist, right? You can see when he's dancing and the ripples at his waist and the movement of the waters. So the ocean is very deep. It's huge. And it looks simple, but it's teeming with varieties of life. Similarly, Krishna is deep and broad and full of varieties of life and pastimes. And again, he says he is Om. So Srila Jiva Goswami writes, which Srila Prabhupada quotes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that in the syllable Om, the A is Krishna, the U is Radha, and the the Anushwar, that is all of us. Now, he said he was all yajnas, but particularly he's the chanting of his names. And we were talking about how generally in yajna, you have to have everything right. You have to have the right time, the right ingredients, the right rituals, and everything. That's not true with the chanting of the holy name. You can chant silently in your mind, or quietly, or out loud, by yourself, with a group, with or without instruments. When you're dirty, when you're clean, when you're in your bed. Prabhupada says you can chant the holy name in the toilet room, in your car, when you're going to work, any place. We can always access the Lord. So it is a supreme ceremony of connection. The Himalayas, you don't have very many mountains around here, do you? Right, so this is a hard one to think about. But Krishna's love for us, his dedication to us, his wanting to revive our position with him is immovable, like the Himalayas. And banyan trees. Do we have banyan trees in Melbourne? Too cold, right? I think I saw one in Brisbane. And I'm sure you've all seen banyan trees, yeah? So like Krishna, it's hard to tell where it begins, where it ends, spreading everywhere. The king. We don't have very many kings now anymore. But people are still fascinated. You know, King Charles gets inaugurated and everybody's like, so how interesting must be Krishna. And the thunderbolt. Lightning that pulls nitrogen out of the sky, pulls it into the ground. You know, sometimes we have doubts, difficulties, struggles, and then we get a lightning bolt of realization. Oh, that's what I can do. That just eliminates all of those problems. That is Krishna. The Surabhi cows. So Surabhi cows give unlimited milk and whatever one desires. Just like Krishna, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Karaman. So there's many reasons that people have children, but of all those reasons, Krishna says that he is the love and affection between the husband and the wife. And he is Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is in what part of the Lord's body? Anybody remember from Tuesday?
Backside.
Oh, that's immorality. Excellent. But Yamaraj himself, where is he? That's what Arjuna saw on the battlefield, right? Everybody just going into Krishna's mouth. Whenever heinous criminals get punished, Krishna's crunching them. Among subduers, I am time. So we try to use time, beat time, save time. Sometimes we waste time, we look forward in time. But time is wearing down everything. No weapon is as powerful as time. It's going to wear down everything. But if we're connecting with Krishna in this moment, 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 you'll not be disturbed by this subduing aspect of time. The lion, he roars and all the other animals run away. So when Krishna speaks in the Gita, all the atheists and demons run away. The wind, we get a lot of that around here also, right? Yes? So you know how nice your clothes smell, right? When you've hung them up outside, have that nice smell. Or you have some musty room and you open the windows and you, right? That's the purifying agent of the wind. Parasuram, who roots out corruption in government. Whenever you find anybody who's rooting out corruption in leaders in government, they are representing Parasuram. Officious, he is the Makara. So there is no English translation for Makara. You can see here Ganga is writing on a Makara. Yes. So Prabhupada will translate this word as shark or dolphin or crocodile, the great beasts of the water. And he is the Ganges, Mother Ganga, the spiritual conscious water brought from beyond the universe by Vamandev when he stuck his toe through the outside of the universe. Padanakanira Janita Janapavana. And Bhagavad with his austerities, and on Shiva's head, so many wonderful stories about Mother Ganga. He's the middle and the beginning, the middle, and the end. The top of the sandwich, the middle of the sandwich, the bottom of the sandwich. The beginning of the trip, the destination, the going back, the starting of a project, the completion of it, right? The execution of it, the preparation for the festival and the cleanup. The science of the self. Who is our self? We are part of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that we have the majority of the qualities of Krishna. What are these qualities he lists that we have? We're beautiful. We're geniuses. We're effulgent. We're powerful. Now, of course, we have these qualities to a small degree, but we're also small, so that's fine. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6:20 that when we realize ourselves, we will relish and rejoice in the self. And we'll think, there's nothing more to be gained than this. And we'll never be shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. So this science is Krishna. Then he says he is Vada. We talk about this in our hermeneutics course. Vada means discussions where we're looking for truth. Generally, it's between guru and disciple, though it can be between peers. In other words, you leave your ego with the shoes. Right? Take off your shoes, leave your ego out there with the dirty shoes, and we just discuss to find truth. Then there's Jalpa. Jalpa means you're bringing your ego with you. And you're trying to prove that you're right. I had a discussion for months with someone, and it was going nowhere. And then I said, "What do you want?" She said, "I want you to say that I am right." That's Jalpa. Then there's Vitanda. Vitanda, you're not looking for truth. You're not even trying to establish that you're right. You're just trying to make the other party wrong. So Krishna's not Jalpa or Vitanda, he's Vada. And you know when we have Vada discussions, how satisfying that is, right? Vata Trishyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Of letters, I am A. So this sound A, if you make the sound A. Right? You notice you're not using your tongue, your lips, your teeth. This is the basic sound of all language. Inexhaustible time. So good times come, good times go, bad times come, bad times go. But Krishna is always present. Whenever we look at our watch, whenever you look at the time on your phone, anytime we're talking about time. Anytime we're talking about time. Actually, my co-author of Career Dharma, Dr. Ruchiradatta, she likes to call Krishna the time being. Isn't that cool? You get that, right? Took a minute or so. So whenever you think about time, that is Krishna. All devouring death, not only the death of our bodies, the death of a job, the death of a residence, the death of a relationship, the death of a hope, dream, a goal, a project. When Bali Maharaj was asked for charity by Vamandev, and Sukracharya said, don't give, he said, everything's going to be taken away at death. I might as well give voluntarily to the Lord what he's going to take anyway at death. And my mother had this philosophy. In her last year of life, she gave pretty much everything away. And she said, better to give with a warm hand than a cold hand. If we've given Krishna everything, our family members, our wealth, our home, our intelligence, our job, our project, everything, then when it's taken from us, as all of it will be, it won't matter because we already gave it. Yes? That is to die before dying. This one I like. This is the start before the start. So you know how sometimes you start something, you start a project, or you start a job, or you start a relationship or something, and you realize, oh, this actually started before. This actually started 3 months ago or 3 years ago when I read that book or when I met that person or I went to that place. But I didn't know at that time that it was a start. Yes? So that's Krishna, the start before the start. The fame of women, when women are famous for their dharma, Sita, Kunti, Ganhari, that is Krishna. The fortune, the splendorous beauty of women, that is Krishna. Vak, fine speech. In Bhagavatam 9.5.7, it said that Sudarshan is the master of speech. Okay? So perfect speech, following the master Sudarshan, it removes ignorance, it purifies, it enlightens, it enlivens. And when women are speaking like that, that is Krishna. Among women, I am memory, when the women can remember this child wants this and this child wants this, child wants this. My husband needs this, I have to do this. That's Krishna. And Meda. Does anyone know the famous verse about Lord Chaitanya with the word Meda? Yes, Sumeda Saha, right? If you have good Meda, Su means good or pleasing or beautiful. If you have good Meda, you'll engage in Sankirtan. So Prabhupada writes in Teachings of Queen Kunti, verse 3, that generally women outnumber the men in religious ceremonies. I think today it's about equal. He says because women naturally want to surrender to God. They have a natural intelligence like that. And sociologically, that's true. Women generally outnumber men in religious activities. So this natural intelligence of women to surrender to the Lord and to engage in the Sankirtan movement, that is Krishna. Among women, I am steadfastness, to be chaste, to be faithful, to be steady. This word is also, driti, this is also related to steadiness in bhakti. And patience. Okay, so of you ladies here, how many of you are mothers? How many of you have children? Do you have to have patience? Have you had to be very patient today? Yeah. So I tell people you have 3 choices when you have children. Patience, go crazy, or let someone else watch them. That's Okay, now you guys, you don't listen to this. Do you also have to be patient with your husbands? Don't tell them that. So here's Sukanya being very patient with Chaitanya Muni. Right? So this patience of women, that is Krishna. Of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Those of us who chant the Gayatri 3 times a day, that is God in the form of a poem. Okay. Does anyone remember the Vedic mantras? What parts of the Lord's body are they? Skin. His skin and his cerebral passage and his voice. All right, this one does not apply down under, folks. Sorry. In the northern hemisphere, this is the harvest season. And people are very joyous in the harvest season. We have a Gaudiya Vaishnav harvest festival in these months. And what is that? Govardhan Puja, yes. And then he says he's the spring. This doesn't work for people who live on the equator, by the way. But at least here you have a winter, yes? And so after the cold, dark winter, when the leaves come out on the trees and the flowers are growing and the birds are singing and everything's fresh, it's the youthful season. And Krishna is ever youthful. The gambling of cheats, this is a funny one. So, usually when you're cheated, you don't know until afterwards. Like you think it's a nice person and then you find out your bank account's empty. But with gambling, it's all up front. It's a really funny form of cheating. Okay, everybody, let's sit down at the table and put out the cards, and now I'm going to try to cheat you. And you go, yes, very nice. Of the splendid, I am the splendor. The wow in anything. So this, of course, is one of the secondary rasas, Adbhuta Ras. And Srila Rupa Goswami says that Adbhuta Ras, or wonder, splendor, has to be present to some extent anytime we experience any pleasure from anything. There has to be a little bit of wow. So that wow factor in anything is Krishna. I am victory, that feeling when we're victorious, right? That's Krishna. Adventure. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes that we should see this world also as Krishna's lila, and we should see our life as an adventure. In an adventure, do you know how it's going to turn out? When you're on an adventure? Do you know how it's going to turn out? No, you don't. Right? Sometimes there's difficulties like that, but Krishna's that adventure. Now, before he said he was the strength of the strong, free of passion and desire, now he says he's all strength. Do you remember the Bhagavatam? It says the demon soldiers are representing his strength. How is this? Do you remember what question Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad about strength? Yeah. Where do you get your superhuman power from, Prahlad? And what did Prahlad say? From the same place you do, Father, from Krishna. So it's the punishment of the lawless. Whenever we feel safe walking down the street because the criminals are in jail, that's Krishna. I like this one a lot. So we're not always victorious. Sometimes we lose some of life's battles, right? But have you ever kind of lost something, lost one battle you were fighting, but you kept your integrity? You didn't compromise. Maybe you didn't win, but you kept your principles, right? Have you experienced this? Didn't that feel kind of like a victory? Even though externally you lost, you thought, but I never compromised my integrity. That's Krishna. Of secret things I am silent. So in this purport to Bhagavad Gita 10:38, Srila Prabhupada writes, among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence, one can make progress very quickly. We were at the farm yesterday and we were sitting in the meditation garden, and I was thinking very much about this verse. So quiet there. Okay? Often we're interested to talk to Krishna, but we also, in addition, we want to be able to hear him. So he is our wisdom, those insights of realization, of wisdom, of deep understanding. And again, he says he's the seed of everything. Not only the chapatis and the rice and the dal, but he's the seeds of our ideas, our projects, our relationships, our jobs, our houses, our everything. He is all of those seeds. This is a wonderful one to meditate on. In this world, there's so many amazing things. So many beautiful things, so many incredible things, so many wondrous things. And we are just the lowest of the middle planets. Imagine how much glory and beauty there is in this universe, and there's so many universes. And if you put them all together, it's just a spark of how wonderful Krishna is. Whenever we appreciate anything that's wonderful, beautiful, glorious, we think, this is just a tiny bit. How glorious is Krishna. So we've looked at chapters 7, 9, and 10. We're going to look at a very few in 15. The splendor of the sun, the beauty of sunrise and sunset. What did we learn? Sunrise and sunset are what? Krishna's what? Krishna's garments going through the sky. The glory of high noon, the splendor of the moon, looking like a pearl in the sky, reminding us of Krishna's nighttime pastimes. The splendor of fire. Do we all like to watch fire? Everybody like to watch fire? That's because that splendor is Krishna, the pilot of the planet. It's amazing. You know, any vehicle you get into, you will feel it move, correct? Do you feel the earth moving? Amazing. It's going a lot faster than a plane. Incredible pilot. Giving all the juice of life to vegetables in the form of the moon. The fire of digestion. This is a nice one to meditate on, right? So yesterday I ate some rice and now it's my nose. How did that happen? How did the rice turn into my nose? You understand? I ate a mango and now it's fingernails. How does he do that? Krishna's the fire of digestion. You know, I'm eating a mango, I'm eating some rice, I'm eating a roti, and it turns into fingernails. Such a wonderful, incredible, transformative effect, this fire of digestion. And he joins with the prana, pushing our food from our mouth to our esophagus, to our stomach, to our small intestine, throughout all the veins in our body to nourish us. And here we are at Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasya chaham ridi sannivisto matasmatir jnanam apohanam cha. So this is one of the favorite verses in our family. Whenever anybody would lose anything, we would say, chant 15:15. You know, so one of my kids, Mata, I can't find my other sock. And I'd say, well, just chant 15:15. Sarvasya chaham ridi sannivisto matasmatir jnanam apohanam cha. Oh, I found it. So once when I was traveling, one devotee said to me, Urmila, I can't find my phone. And I said, well, just chant 15:15. So she started walking around the room going, 15:15, 15:15. Sometimes she's watching, so she's watching. All right, so I told you I had a special surprise for you. Okay. And we might actually want to turn off all the lights here first. Can we turn off this light also, please? Thank you.
I am the source of all that is here. I am the one who makes it disappear. There is nothing beyond me, I'm the head. All rest upon me like pearls rest on a thread. what I am. The life of all life, the heat of the fire, the strength of the strong, free of lust and desire, the seed of existence, the prowess of man. These are some more ways to see what I am, what I am. These are some more ways, these are some more ways, these are some more ways to see what I am. I'm seated in the heart of all living beings. I'm the beginning, middle, and end of all things. The light, I'm the sun, whichever follows its course. And in living beings, I'm the living force. Furthermore, I'm a generating seed. There is no being that exists without spark of my splendor, from the spark of my splendor, from the spark of my splendor to spring, to spring.
I hope you like that. Turn off the projector. So the music is by Mahatma, and you can find that on his YouTube channel, and the video is made by Narada Dasi. Some of you might recognize the deities of ISKCON Soho. Could you get the projector? Just hit the power button twice, please. Okay, I'd like to ask, so what item from this presentation are you going to be meditating on in the next week? Somebody? Beginning, middle, and end. Good. Someone else? Sun, light of the sun, light of the moon. Yes. The light of the splendor. Which do you want? Or both? Both. Okay. Taste of water. Silence. The healing power of the herbs. Good. Okay. Someone else. Dearest friend. Oh, that's lovely. Any of our ability, yes? Metta. Oh, you're going to meditate on women's intelligence. Very nice. The splendor of fire. The resting place. That's a very nice one. The sense of being alive. The beauty of the splendor of the sun, the beauty of sunset, sunrise. And that's also Krishna's what? Clothes, remember? Going through the sky. So thank you very much. Again, I'm sorry we ran out of books. We do have a book called Krishna Meditation. You can get it online. You can get it in India from Golden Age Media. And you can also get it from Amazon. There's paperback and ebook. And it has little meditations on each of these verses from the Bhagavad Gita, as well as the ones we did on Tuesday from the Bhagavatam. There's also meditations from the Nectar Devotion from each of Krishna's 64 qualities, and how you can see Krishna's qualities in the things of nature. So thank you very much. Anything good here is from Srila Prabhupada in the Shastra. Anything bad here is from me. Please take the good and leave aside the bad. If you'd like a copy of these PowerPoints, or the video, the video is on Mahatma's YouTube channel. You can go to Mahatma Das YouTube channel and look for I Am. If you also want a copy of the video or these presentations, you can see Punyapalika here. And she will give you a copy. And we do have some copies left of Career Dharma. We're going to be teaching Career Dharma on Sunday. And so if you'd like to, we're going to be especially focusing on chapters 2 through 6. So if you'd like to get a copy now, if you read that in advance, you'll get a lot more out of the seminars. So we have a few copies left here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya